Okay, to draw letters in one-point perspective, always start with your horizon line and your vanishing point. To make my block letters nice and neat, I like to make guidelines that are going to be the tops and the bottoms of my letters. So as I draw my block letters, I'm using the top guideline for the top edge of my block letter and then the bottom guideline as the bottom edge. That just makes every letter an even height and makes things look a little bit neater. When you're drawing your guidelines, you want to draw those guidelines lightly because you'll want to erase those afterwards. You can see that whenever a block letter has straight edges, I like to use a ruler to draw those edges. Again, that just makes everything look nicer and neater in the long run. And craftsmanship is important. Your craftsmanship is a part of your grade. So it only takes a few moments to use that ruler to make those edges, and it has a big payoff in craftsmanship and neatness. Now, once you have those block letters, then you can go back and erase any portions of the guideline that is not an actual part of the letter. So, using my vanishing point, these top corners of my letters, those are fairly easy. Corner to the vanishing point, 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 and so on. Those parts are easy. Now, when you have a curve of your letter, those can be a little tricky. What you're going to do is use your vanishing point as a hinge, and I'm swinging my ruler around until it touches the curve. As soon as it touches the curve, that's where my orthogonal line goes. Remember that once an orthogonal line runs into any other letter or anything else, that orthogonal line stops. So here, I'm only getting a little bit of it, runs into the E, and it stops. Now, when you start doing these other corners, same concept applies. Line it up to the vanishing point, line that corner up to the vanishing point, and then if a line runs into anything else, it stops for good. It does not continue. Once it runs into something, that line is done. Even these interior corners, I'm lining up to the vanishing point, drawing it as far as it will go until it runs into something, and then it stops. Now, what about these corners? If I were to line up that corner to the vanishing point, it would immediately cross over the letter. So in that case, those lines I don't draw at all. If it's a line that's going to run over your letter right off the bat, then you just don't even draw that line at all. Sometimes those orthogonal lines can feel a little awkward. Here's the curve of the S, again using the vanishing point as a hinge, swinging it around. As soon as it touches the curve, that's where the line goes. You'll also notice that if the curve curves left, I swing the ruler around from the left. If the curve is on the right, I swing the ruler around from the right side. Now it's inside pieces. So any letter that has a hole, we do need to check to see if any of the corners from the inside of that hole would show. Same concept applies. Once it runs into something, once that orthogonal line runs into something, it stops for forever. Now to close off these letters, I'm drawing lines that are parallel to the edge of the shape. So following that edge of the B. Since it's curved, I'm going to follow that curve, basically copying that curve and just kind of imagining what it might look like going behind the letter E, inside of that hole, parallel to that edge. First I did parallel to the left edge, and then parallel to the bottom edge. Starts to curve up a little bit. Now my letter's looking 3D. This E is pretty easy. Parallel to the edge of the E, parallel to that edge, straight up and down, parallel to that edge, parallel to that edge. Just continuing that process. I like to erase my excess orthogonal lines as I go, just get them out of the way. One point perspective has a lot of lines to it, so I find it helpful to get rid of the excess once I don't need it anymore. Once again, closing off my letters. Parallel to that edge of the letter. Same idea with a curve. Follow the curve. You're copying that edge of the letter. Following this curve here. And this is letters in one point perspective.